Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Thursday. This is Game Day Live. Coming to you live from the Primetime Radio Bunker Studios as we're trying to avoid this bad, unseasonal weather that we're having here in beautiful New Jersey. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Pucks and Pitchforks contributor Vinnie Parise out in Chicago, streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Primetime Radio Network. Vinnie, Devils Bruins today. Isn't there somebody in your family that just happens to be a Bruins fan that could be watching this wonderful programming called the Game Day Live?
Yes, sir, Sam Wu. Joey Parise, my brother, is a diehard. When I talk about diehard, I don't know if I know anybody who's more a fan of their team than him. I've seen him give up incredibly fun things to just sit at home and watch the Bruins. And I consider myself a diehard of my three favorite teams, the New Jersey Devils, Chicago White Sox, and Chicago Bears. I'm a diehard fan. I live and breathe this stuff. But Joey's obsession with the Bruins is like nothing other. And I hope he cries tonight. That's how bad I want the Devils to beat the Bruins. He talks all this game, yip, 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 yip. Devils this, Devils that. I'm not scared. Yip, yip, yip. Last place team. Yip, yip, yip. They're not in last. I hope that the Devils just destroy the Bruins tonight. I don't care about draft lottery positioning. I don't care about any of that stuff. I don't care about anything that's happened in the past. I want the Devils to beat the Bruins tonight as bad as I've ever. And I cheer on the Bruins when they're not playing the Devils. They're probably my second favorite team in the NHL. My Twitter account can vouch for that. But any team that plays the Devils, I hate for that 24-hour span. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really? I mean, the Bruins, they have a little nostalgia, with Bobby Orr, one of the greatest players to ever play the game, probably the greatest defenseman to ever play the game. They've got Phil Esposito back in those days, Ray Bourque, if you remember. Joe Thornton was drafted first overall with the Bruins. Sergei Samsonov, no relation. And, there are a lot of good Bruins teams. Cam Neely. Remember Cam Neely? I mean, one of those gritty guys. They've had some of their, good players on that team. But when you play the big, bad Boston Bruins, that whole original six, Boston Garden, that era, that kind of just, I don't know, goes away.
I completely understand. And there's the New York area, Boston area rivalry. I know it obviously starts and ends with the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees, but I know the Patriots played the Giants in the Super Bowl all those years ago. The Patriots and the Jets are in the same division. That's a big rivalry. Celtics-Knicks, I feel like Celtics-Knicks is a sleeping giant rivalry. The Knicks have just kind of stunk for the last 20 years in general. And, if they ever really became one of those dominant teams, I think them and the Celtics would have great rivalries. Obviously, MSG and TD Garden, that whole area, outstanding sports history. The Devils and Bruins don't necessarily have, that type of history. And, they've played each other a bunch. I don't have they played each other in the postseason in the last 20 years. I can't, think of a time that they did. I don't think they have. But, there, like you said, there is a lot of history with the Boston Bruins. Bobby Orr, Raymond Bourque, Zdeno Chara, three of the 20 best defensemen who ever lived. McAvoy is probably top three defensemen in the NHL right now. The points aren't quite like a Fox or a Makar, but all the statistics show that he's right there with those guys as, one of the premier defensemen in the NHL. So that's a guy you got to keep an eye on if you're the Devils. Nico Hischier is probably going to see a lot of, well, it is in Boston, so I don't know what the true matchups are going to be. I'm sure Bergeron will see a heavy dosage of Jack Hughes, and we'll see how Jack is able to outweigh that kind of stuff. Obviously, Brad Marchand, David Pastrnak, Taylor Hall, all wingers that can impact a game. Devils fans know all about Taylor Hall and what he's able to do. He had a really good game 2 days ago against the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Bruins were on a losing side of that. The depth on the Bruins has been, it was iffy early in the year, and then they've really started to put it together over the last 2 months or so. I believe record-wise, they're the hottest team in the NHL in the last couple of weeks. Since the calendar flipped from 2021 to 2022, David Pastrnak and Brad Marchand have been two of the most productive forwards in the National Hockey League. So that's always, tough to deal with when you're the opponent. But the Devils have some players that can really take advantage of the style of play that the Bruins have. I think the Devils and the Leafs match up well for each other. They're very similar in terms of the way they attack and rely on speed and stuff like that. And the Leafs were able to drop 6 on the Bruins early yesterday. And the thing that's kind of scary in terms of for the Devils is the fact that the Bruins were winning that game or losing that game 6-1. The Leafs had a 6-1 lead. And then the Leafs did what the Leafs do. And it feels like something's just wrong with that team. Like whenever they think something's good, it just falls apart in the other direction. But, they allowed Boston to get back into it, and it looked like they were going to have a chance late. Taylor Hall scored a goal that was reviewed for goalie interference, and it was upheld, and the goal counted. It's a tough team to play against the Boston Bruins. They are a legitimate Stanley Cup contender. Anybody who doesn't think so just hasn't been paying attention lately and are letting the early season narratives get in their way, because they are right there with the Florida Panthers, Tampa Bay Lightning, Toronto Maple Leafs, Carolina Hurricanes, amongst the very best teams in the NHL. And the Devils are going to have their hands full tonight. They have played well against some of these top teams, but I believe they have lost 4 out of the last 5 to the Boston Bruins, including this season, going back to last season when they were in the same division for the COVID-shortened season. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the Devils respond. And, tough loss for the Bruins yesterday, but this Devils team, they're fast. I'm not sure who's going to be in net for Boston. I know Swayman was in net yesterday when he gave up a bunch of goals. Amanda Stein did announce that Dawes is in net for the 15th time in the last 17 games. Yep,
Again.
15th time in the last 17 games. Yanni Kokkonen was activated off of injured reserve, but he's not playing in the lineup tonight. So the Devils, it's going to be a lot of what we've seen, the last couple weeks since February 1st, I guess, is the last time that the Devils, or the first time the Devils really started to, I guess, play well. Wood is on the third line with Janssen and Boquist. They haven't put him back with McLeod and Bastion yet. And I saw Amanda tweeting earlier about not putting him back in that role yet, which is just crazy to me, because not crazy to me like that Amanda said that or that it's that type of deal. But the fourth line is considered more of a difficult and important role for a Devils forward than the third line. Like, they have Wood on the third line. They're like, yeah, he's not ready for the fourth line yet. Normally, it's the other way around. It's like, the guy's on the fourth line. He's not quite ready for the third line yet, but that's just not the case for Miles Wood. But Sharon Govich remaining with Mercer and Hughes. Tatar's on the second line with Heischer and Bratt. And then, you got the rest of the team. Siegenthaler playing with Hamilton to start the game is an interesting one for me. Graves with Severson, Smith and Subban, Dawes and net. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, and you know what? What are we looking for in this game? Some of the key things the Devils need to improve on. Shorthanded opportunities to the opposition. That needs to be shored up immediately. We've been saying this since day one, but they have made improvements incrementally. That's one thing. Also, Jack Hughes needs to be Jack Hughes. Shoot first, Jack Hughes. Opens up the entire ice for his teammates because he's such an offensive threat right now. And he's shooting with more accuracy. He's shooting the puck with more velocity. But even more, he is tough to bring down. You can't really lay a clean check on Jack Hughes right now. His body is stronger than the 18-year-old Jack Hughes. He's going to be 21 very soon. And I think right now I think we can all say this, that we're enjoying a first overall generational player right now, and he hasn't started his 8-year contract. So I think right now, just think about that for a moment. How far Jack Hughes has come, Jesper Bratt, and also I think we should also really take into consideration that Nico Dawes is starting again, and he's holding the fort pretty well for a rookie goaltender.
Yeah, and they need Dawes against the Bruins. I mean, they come out swinging. They play well. They're hard on the forecheck. They got guys who get to the front of the net who are hard to move. Their defense is extremely strong. They got Hampus Lindholm now, so it's Lindholm with McAvoy and Brandon Carlo. So Matt Grzelcyk is outstanding. Always seems to have a really good game against the Devils too. Grzelcyk, I've noticed. For some reason, he comes to play whenever that's the opponent on the other side. So, and then of course they have two really good goalies. That's the one thing I actually forgot to look while you were talking was who's in net for Boston. I could find it out rather quickly, but you know what? And honestly, it really doesn't even matter because Linus
He's going to get lit up.
Yeah, hopefully. But Jeremy Swayman and Linus Allmark have been outstanding this season. The thing that is interesting to me, Sam, they're announcing or they're letting Tuukka Rask drop the puck before the game, and they're doing a nice little pregame. Like, people shouldn't be at all surprised if the game doesn't start exactly when they think it's going to start, but because they're honoring Tuukka Rask, who earlier this season announced his retirement after trying to make a comeback. And sometimes teams come out flat after those ceremonies. I know the Bruins are a good team and the Devils are not the best team, so that could play a factor into that not happening. But, look for the Devils to jump on the Bruins early here. I think that's one of the keys to success in this game.
Yeah, and you know what? About the Boston Bruins and the rest of the league, they're not starting their third string goaltender against us to save their other goalies. I know it's later in the season, but we've seen some great goaltending coming from the opposition because they know that the Devils can score at will. They can put up 7 goals out of nowhere. They could come back down 3-0. What the Devils need to stop doing is blowing leads, blowing the 2-1 leads. I think the last 3 games they've blown the 2-1 lead, if I'm not mistaken. So, again, with the Devils, and by the way, Corbin says my audio is better. Yes, just to interrupt a little bit. We know the issues. We're going to try to fix it. It's going to take a little time, but I think I fixed that audio issue. And with the Bruins, again, if you remember when Mackenzie Blackwood had that amazing save, and the puck was on the line, it was last 10, 20 seconds of the game, and we had the amazing footage of that in slow-mo and still. The Devils actually last season had the Bruins number. And the only thing the Bruins could do was, towards the end of last season, was, all right, if we can't beat them, let's try to beat them. They put on the physical presence, and the Devils were just too young, not ready. But right now, look who's in the lineup. Miles Wood, Nathan Bastian, again from last year. Nathan Bastian was the only one that could really do anything last year. And I think the Devils are overall a tougher team to knock down. They're still soft, but they're a tougher team right now. And look out for that, because if the Bruins get frustrated, they're going to pull the veteran shenanigans like the Washington Capitals have. They're going to lay their physicality and their obnoxiousness with some cheap shots, and watch for Jack Hughes. Watch what they're going to try to do to him. They are going to try to neutralize him. They're going to zero him out with their size. But Jack Hughes knows how to use his body to his advantage. He doesn't get crushed too often anymore. They just slip right off of him.
And that's something that he's developed over the last couple of years, because when he first came into the league, he did deal with space and time and all that kind of stuff that really made it hard for him to create offense the way that we know he can. It's going to be interesting. Like you said, the Devils, they still have some soft spots with some of the players, some of the forwards that are young. I think that'll change as they get older, stronger, more nimble. But, you had Siegenthaler, you had Hamilton, you had Graves. All of these guys mostly didn't play with the Devils last season. I know Siegenthaler had a cup of coffee before the season ended. But, all these guys that are big, they're changing the dynamic of the team, and it's going to take time. I know people don't like hearing that anymore because they've sucked since 2012, other than 1 year. But really, since Ray Shero got fired, all they had was Nico, to really, and Jesper Bratt to really build around from, that team that was good in 2018. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle the Bruins today. I'm very much looking forward to today's game. It's a good measuring stick. If they at least play well, I'll be happy with it. And, I'd like to see Jack and Nico and Jesper really get on the score sheet today, at least to some degree. Get on the power play. Do what you got to do to get on the man advantage and try and really have some good puck movement and some good looks on the opposition's net.
Yeah, and you know what, Vinny? Hate to cut this short, but the game's almost starting. And I'll figure out the technical issues before game day live. I'm gonna put all my good stuff. But all right, predictions. Who are you predicting?
Predictions: the Devils will beat the Bruins 4-2.
All right. Hey, Joey. And I want to talk to Luigi himself. Luigi and I are picking Devils 9-5. 9-5, because just like the workday, the Devils are going to be business as usual.
There you go.
I hope that came out. I hope my audio came loud and clear when I made that 9-5 prediction.
Yeah, I mean, there's some technical difficulties going on, but you were loud and clear. If the Devils score 9 on the Bruins, I think I would just be so happy. Wow.
Well, here's my reasoning. They got some days off. They regroup. They're playing the big bad Boston Bruins. And you know what? I think Jack Hughes and Bratt are going to light it up. They're going to try to put the body on him. But you know what? Miles Wood stretches the ice. He brings physicality. Okay? You've got cherry pickers on all 4 lines right now. Do you realize that? All 4 lines kind of have their cherry pickers. And they're going to stretch the ice. And the Bruins are going to have to catch up and be on their heels the entire game.
Absolutely. And we do have confirmation from Joey Parise. It is Linus Allmark in net. He must have heard me talking through the walls. And, yeah, Linus Allmark in net.
Oh, and I have confirmations for Joey Parise. His team is going to lose, and lose badly.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, Vinny. Well, thank you so much. Sorry for the technical difficulties, folks, but these things happen when you have a big storm. Blaming the storm now. That's a Michael Hay excuse. I'll take it whenever I can. And just remember, Devils After Dark, after the game, Scotty is SiriusXM, Liquid Metal, and I will recap the game that was. So enjoy the 9-5 victory that I'm predicting. And Joey, it's never too late to come over to the dark side, to be a Devils fan.
That's right.
Come on. I know you could do it. All right. Until next time, let's go Devils.